you want some really quick advice on how to put on a great show? I'll give it to you straight and then I'll give you the why. Hydrate. Eat something besides fast food. It's really that simple, but let me tell you my experience. Over the weekend, we had a show on Thursday in Fort Walton Beach. From that show, we get home at about 3 a.m., but we've got to leave at 7 a.m. to go to North Myrtle Beach for a festival we're playing the following day. Play Thursday, driving Friday, and then show Saturday, the festival. So, night of very little sleep, get on the road. What's supposed to be a 10-hour drive becomes a 16-hour drive because of Hurricane Helene. We drove past flooding. We avoided lots of trees on the road. I drove over power lines. I drove off-road through somebody's yard to get through one of those like back road highways because the interstate was shut down where we were trying to go. Past a tanker that had flipped and caught fire. The truck part of it was gone, but the tank part and the forest around it was burned by the time we got past it. But anyway, we go to Myrtle Beach. The point is, little bit of sleep, a whole lot of driving. And then we get to the hotel, not a whole lot of sleep because we got to get up early to get to the festival venue. We get there. We are prepared for the show. We do the show. I normally sweat a lot. This is not news to me. Hopefully it's not news to you because I mention in every video I do. But about 15 minutes in the show, we're dancing. I'm feeling great, putting on a good show. I look down and I see a puddle of sweat on my shoes, on the ground, on my pedal board. It's disgusting. There's so much. But my saxophone player sweats about as much as me. So I look over to him. He is sweating, but I look down and he's not dripping sweat at all. So I know something's up. Something's wrong. I'm not my best. And then I can't hear any frequencies above about 1K. So all those nice intelligibility frequencies that let you really know what's going on during the show, I can't hear them, okay? It's a rough time. If you're trying to sing lead and deal with an audience, this is not a good time to lose your hearing. And then I ditched the jacket. I ditched the hat. I usually wear a hat to keep sweat out of my eyes, but I had to ditch the hat just for heat's sake. And then from the corner of my vision, I see darkness creeping in from both sides, from top, bottom, left, and right. And this means I'm about to pass out on this stage in front of 10,000 people. So I turn around for a moment. I'm putting on a big smile, but got to turn around. I go to the backstage and just turn back around, go start putting on a show. I spend the rest of the show like in this in-between phase of like I'm about to pass out, but I've got to put on a good show. So I'm giving the most energy I can while still standing upright. It's one of those things. And we finished the show, and I was in a haze. Like there are a bunch of things that I plan out to say to audiences during shows. Certain things you got to push merch, you got to push your website, you got to push the social media, all that kind of stuff. Without, you got to do it in a clever way so it doesn't like take up the whole show. Like, welcome to our advertising show. It's not actually music, it's just advertising. You don't want that. You got to be clever about it and sparing. But I forgot all those things. I couldn't think straight a lot of time because I couldn't hear those high frequencies. I was going, I hope I'm singing in the right key, but I'm not actually sure if I am. Finished the show. I drank a couple of Gatorades. The coordinator for the event, she was like, you look like you're about to die. I was like, I feel like I'm about to die. Do you have Gatorade? I'm usually not the type to ask for stuff. I bring all my own. I was like, do you have Gatorade? If you could find some, that would be great. Have a couple Gatorades, but then I go to change clothes. And when I go to change clothes, I start to take off my shoe, my foot cramps. So I move so the foot stops cramping, which causes my hip flexor to cramp, which then I move to fix that, and that makes my other hip flexor cramp. And when I do that, my right hamstring cramps. So when I try to move just right to get the hamstring fixed, my ribs start cramping. I've never had a rib cramp before, of all things. And then when I tried to move, like kind of twist up to stretch out the ribs, my lower back started cramping up on the left side. And I was hurting pretty bad. And we have performed longer shows in worse heat plenty of times. But because of the lack of sleep and the long road trip, I think it was basically as simple as I ate trash for food and did not hydrate very well. And because of time constraints, I ended up not bringing Gatorade with me to the stage. I didn't have time to do like a quick convenience store trip. So all of this to say, you've got to hydrate. Please eat something green. I ate just straight up trash for food the whole trip. So yeah, hydrate, eat something good, and you will do much better than I did. By all accounts, like the crowd loved it. They didn't realize I was struggling. Then after the show, I'm talking to my dad, who's our bass player, and he was like, "What? You were hurt? I had no idea. You looked like you were doing a good job. I had a Gatorade right next to me. You could have had it." I was going, "Well, I didn't want to take your Gatorade because I know you struggle with the heat sometimes, old man." But he was fine. He's a rocker man. He's a rock and roll Marine. Adapt and overcome. But even if you're hurting, you've got to put on a good show, and that's exactly what we did. We made a big impact there because of just sticking with it and doing our best. But again, hydrate. Eat something that's not trash. I highly recommend the road life to every musician who wants to go out and do it, and like that's part of what you want to do with your life. It's really tough. I was a college tennis player, but doing shows is way more difficult. It's way more costly to the body than a college tennis match ever was. But that's just a little bit of road life for you. There's a lot of driving involved, a lot of lifting gear, there's a lot of heat. You've got to put on a good show. If you got the flu, doesn't matter. Put on a great show. You got a cold, doesn't matter. Put on a great show. You're suffering from some sort of heat exhaustion, doesn't matter. Put on a good show, deal with it afterwards, take care of yourself. But yeah, during the show, you can't really do much to take care of yourself. So take care of yourself before the show, take care of yourself after the show. Take some vitamins. Hydrate. Eat something green. Have Gatorades on the stage. These are all smart things that I usually do that I didn't in this case, and I paid the price. I am still hurting 3 days afterward, and I've just been constantly hydrating, and I slept 12 hours last night and the night before trying to recuperate. It's worth it, though. We get to play music for a living. There's nothing better.